Right, let's get on with this then. As everyone has mentioned, one of the proudest moments of UAE tourism this year is the fact that the Secretary General-elect of UN Tourism is a proud Emirati. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Her Excellency Sheikha Nasser Al Nawais. So nice to meet you. Please. Mabruk.
Thank you.
Many congratulations. So much we could say about this, but the topic of today's discussion is redefining tourism leadership for a new world. You have been a regional leader in the industry for a decade and a half or more. I was looking on your LinkedIn profile earlier. Your current day job is Corporate Vice President of Owner Relationship Management at Rotana. But that will need updating soon because, of course, the Secretary General-elect at UN Tourism. Tell me, in terms of redefining tourism leadership, that's going to be part of your remit. Where are you going to take that?
First of all, I would like to thank everyone that's stayed behind to attend the session today. I would like also to take this opportunity to thank the team from Rotana who's here today. I would like to thank my father, who is the reason why I'm here today, who is the reason why I was able to be elected as the next UN Tourism Secretary General. I am yet to be ratified in November, so that's when my title will change on LinkedIn. So I think you need to watch out to that. Thank you very much, and it's great to be here with all of you today. Thank you, Richard. As I mentioned today on stage, I'll be focused on 5 pillars during my mandate. Number 1 is sustainable and responsible tourism. Number 2 is capacity building, education and training. Number 3 is infrastructure and connectivity. Number 4 is digital transformation and smart tourism. And number 5, which is very important, is governance, transparency, and communication. So when it comes to sustainability, sustainability is, in my point of view, no longer an option. It's become a necessity. And it's going to be at the core of my mandate and the core of everything I'll be working on. Every country, I'll be focused on 5 different regions: Africa, Europe, Latin America, Asia, and the Middle East. And every region will have its own priorities. And I was able to get to the priorities based on my listening tour. Since the election, I managed to conduct whether in person or physical meetings with more than 100 ministers from different regions. This allowed me to understand more the requirements and needs of those regions and how can I help them. So I think number 1, when it comes to sustainability, people is very important. And just as my father was mentioning on stage, people is the core of what we do in travel and tourism. We need to make sure that we sustain, we retain, and we are able also to identify the talent and grow the talent. So if we were able to do that, then sustainability is achieved when it comes to people. In terms of development, in terms of real estate, we need to make sure that we advocate for the right things that would require investment in the short run, but have a bigger impact in the long run. When it comes to communities, being able to source from different communities, whether fruits, vegetables, like we have done a lot of things like that during my time in Rotana, sourcing from local UAE nationals or wherever we are in any destination we operate from. It's very important for us to engage the community in every shape or form and wherever relevant.
So if we take some of those in turn, sustainability from an environmental perspective, clearly very, very important. But I'm wondering what the next wave of that looks like. And to be cynical for a moment, sometimes consumers or customers in hotels do accuse the industry of greenwashing. And it'll be great that you'll book a hotel and they say, we have got rid of single-use plastic bottles. which is great. And then you walk into the room when you check in, and it's at 18 degrees, and the air conditioner's been on for 2 days. So what is the next wave of the industry going greener?
Look, I think this is something that can be achieved not only solely with the private sector and real estate developers. It has to be imposed by the government. I think the government of the UAE has managed to do a lot when it comes to that. We have got to where we are today in terms of environment friendly, and be it from the regulations and from the policies they have imposed on a lot of developers. I can give you an example, Richard. During the construction of Saadiyat Rotana in Abu Dhabi, we were asked, I remember very well because I was very privileged to have project managed that development, and we were asked to build 13 meters away from the ocean. We were forced to do that, and why? To preserve the environment of Saadiyat. That's number one. We were asked to pause construction from April to June in at certain times during the day, because we were not supposed to disturb the turtle nesting season, which happened from April to June. So there's a lot of different examples like that that have already been implemented by a lot of developers, because the government or regulations believe that when it comes to environment, we need to make sure that it is preserved and it's sustained.
When it comes to people, going back to the title of this panel discussion, Redefining Tourism Leadership for a New World. What does redefined leadership in this industry, in this sector, look like? And how does it help develop people? Because it can be a tough industry to work in, can't it?
Very tough. I actually had a very interesting meeting just before coming here with the Minister of Capo Verde. And he said that, you know, the tourism represents 25% of the economy of Capo Verde, and it's growing. And he wants to achieve around 2.3 million in arrivals by 2030. He feels his challenge is to retain people. He feels that they as much as they do for their people to retain them and keep them, they're unable to retain them. So I said, you know what, you need to connect to your people and make them know that they're doing this for their country. They have to be very proud about representing Capo Verde. No one can represent or represent a culture or heritage better than nationals from their own country. So he said one of the things we're trying to do to keep them in their countries is to subsidize their housing. As a government, we don't want this youth to go out of Capo Verde. We want them to stay, and we want to benefit from our youth. So we're trying as much as we can to help with their livability and subsidizing. I think it's a great way of encouraging them to stay and not to leave. So it's very important that you as a country, you know the talent you have in your countries and know how to retain them.
Well, you mentioned Capo Verde there, and Africa is, I know, a big focus of yours. You were speaking this morning at the Africa Summit here, and you mentioned a visit to Livingstone, I think recently,
yes,
in Zambia. I also saw recently you were writing about visiting Democratic Republic of Congo and discovering these hidden gems. What have you learned?
I learned, and this is something I mentioned on the stage today, I think the true wealth of Africa lies in its people, and I mean it. Because when you go to Zambia, I've been to Zambia, I've been to DRC, I've been to Angola, and in every journey, every step of the way, I really enjoyed engaging with people. African people are just so proud. And I think if we were able to tap on their potential and know how can we help as the UN Tourism, I think there's a lot of untapped potential that we will be able to leverage on. Zambia was like Livingstone. Livingstone is home to Victoria Falls. It has an amazing safari. I had a photo posted of me with a lion that people didn't, they didn't believe. It
Not
was actually
AI generated.
Not AI generated. But I don't know if they were drugged because they were so kind. But, it was so real. It was so interesting, I think this is one of the things I would like to work on. I mentioned on my presentation today, promotion is key. But before promotion, we need to work on connectivity. And I think a lot of enablers that are already working in Africa and are there, they know that it's there. They know the potential of Africa. They just need to have the right resources. They need to have the right confidence and comfort to work more in Africa. Another thing about people in Africa, and this is something I was able to experience in DRC. I was invited by His Excellency Zurab, the current UN Tourism SG, with the Minister of Tourism to attend the music festival that was organized by the UN Tourism. There were 26 performances. And what amazed me is that every single performance had its own identity. This tells you how rich their culture is. But they don't have, they are very rich in terms of talent, in terms of skills. But what I found out that their minimum, the rights, intellectual rights are not protected. And this is something, yes. So we have the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is one of the UN organizations. And this is something that we can help them with because we know that there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of talent and skills that can be protected. This can allow them to get on the global stage simply by protecting their rights through the right channels.
We have 4.5 minutes left. I've got 2 more questions. Can we squeeze in 2 more quick questions? Yes. Okay, my first one is about your plans for the Middle East. The UAE booming, clearly we know that. Very simply, what are your plans for the Middle East? Or priorities, maybe I should say.
Look, I think what the UAE and what Dubai was able to achieve over the years is unmatched. And I think one of the areas that I would like to focus on is knowledge exchange and knowledge transfer. There's a lot of things that have been implemented in the UAE that a lot of other developing destinations would love to implement and adopt. And this is one of my focuses for the Middle East.
And finally, if we can end where we started, which is your position as the Secretary General-elect of UN Tourism. I really like something that you wrote on LinkedIn recently. You said, this is about more than breaking glass ceilings on being the first woman to hold this position. But it is partly about breaking glass ceilings. I wonder if you could elaborate on that thought a little bit more.
Look, I think dedication and hard work is something that will definitely be recognized, whether you're a man or a woman. Regardless, I think your hard work, your dedication, and doing the right thing is something that will always, help you be at the forefront when it comes to leading, when it comes to. But I think, I came a long way. I came a very long way, and I still have a couple of more miles to get to with the ratification happening in Riyadh. But I think there's nothing impossible. And when you're passionate and when you love what you do and when you do it the right way, I think nothing should stop you.
We have a couple more minutes left. If I can finish by asking you this, you're just about to begin this position with UN Tourism. When you look back on it, how do you think, in your mind, you will define success?
I think, look, one of the things I would like to deliverables is very important for me. And this is something we have been living by. It's something that is very important, and it's very important for me. I'll have to have measurable deliverables that I'll have to stick to and report when it comes to my role at the UN Tourism, because I have 160 member states. You never know, it might grow to much more, and this is my aim. We need, with the right communication, with the right messaging, with the right deliveries, we'll be able to achieve what we want to achieve. So delivery is very important, but you have to have the right plan to deliver on it. And I think I have the right plan.
We will let you go because you still have a few more weeks of the day job to do at Rotana, so I'm sure you're very busy here at FHS. Once again, can we show our congratulations and our thanks to the Secretary-General-elect of UN Tourism, Her Excellency Sheikh Nasser Al Nuwais. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.